Bearcat Bounce Podcast. Back at it again. It's a Monday. It's a day after Christmas Monday. A ho, ho, ho. Merry Christmas in the past, this year in the past, upcoming end of the year, new year. A lot of new things to talk about, but it is still a Monday. It's a Monday after a win against Detroit Mercy for the basketball team. And still more things going on in the football program, but it's a Monday. That means it's time to welcome in my three guys, my three pals, three guys who will be here to talk about Bearcat sports for as long as Chad Brendel allows us to. So without further ado, we're going to bring them all in. That's right. Aaron Smith, Chad Brendel, and Mr. Satterfield taking place of old Ryan Royer today. Well, Ryan's actually in Indianapolis watching Alec Pierce. So, without further ado, Aaron, Chad, gentlemen, how are we?
This is the second time I've been out of bed all day, so I'm doing the best I can. Okay. If I go dark and the mute is on, that means I'm in the bathroom.
Oh man, what he's doing in there can be
I'm a gamer.
His imagination. There we go.
I'm a gamer. It's my flu game.
The flu game. Okay.
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. I feel good.
There we go. Gosh, I love that. That's a cheery response from Aaron. I love that.
You guys have a good Christmas?
Yeah. Aaron, did you?
Yeah. Okay. And now we don't have the kids for 10 days, so.
10 days.
That's a good Christmas.
Wow. Was that the Christmas gift?
No, I mean, we had the kids for 10 days, and now Dad gets the kids. Well, except for little B.
Brennix, yeah.
You were like, all right, and here's the bonus. Here's to get Brennix for 10 days too. Thank you.
Hear about that +1? This is the +1. Congrats. Yeah, well, there you go. Chad, how was your Christmas?
Christmas is good. I was great yesterday. I just woke up this morning feeling like crap. Went and had the immediate fam over for breakfast yesterday morning, and then went over to my uncle's last night, hung out for a while, and came home, got a good night's sleep, woke up and felt like trash. At least it was today instead of yesterday. That would have sucked.
Right. Oh, yeah. You couldn't have dressed up as Santa and handed out the gifts, right?
I could have, but I didn't. No.
I would
have been that new TikTok trend where I dress up as the Grinch. Run in and steal the presents.
Yep. That quick story about that. Actually, we there's this surfing Santa thing.
Of course you did it, yeah.
Yeah, surfing Santa thing. Yeah. And so myself, my dad, and my nephew, we all dressed up in Grinch outfits for the surfing Santas. We were a hit. We all stopped by a lot of people, taking a lot of pictures, like little mini celebrities out there on the beach on a couple days ago. So that was Christmas Eve. Christmas Day was fun. It's kind of cold down here. It actually snowed in Cocoa Beach, Florida. I don't know when the last time it did that, but it snowed a tiny bit yesterday, which is always, it's a little weird. But
how long are you down there?
Up until the 2nd, so fly back next Monday. Nice little, work from the beach instead of in the freezing cold. But I don't know. Here we are. Danco though. Chad, your thumb's a little broken right now, but your car's probably working. But I'm sure after this coldness goes away, a lot of cars are gonna have some struggles, some difficulties, and that's no better time to head over to Danco Auto Care Transmission. Get yourself an oil change, get everything checked out. Especially the BBP. Mention Aaron, Chad, myself, Ryan Royer, Alec Pierce, anyone. Tell them just we sent you.
Anyone?
Anyone?
I don't think that's how promos work.
Anything Bearcat related, I feel like he'd be like, "Oh, did BCJ send you?" Okay.
Well, I mean, that's only if Joe was the one at the front desk.
Right. True. Good point.
If it's not Joe at the front desk, the person at the front desk is just going to look at you like you're a lunatic. And then, Alec Pierce sent me. Can I get my discount?
ask for Danco Joe, then say Alec Pierce sent you. See if it works out. But Danco Transmission Auto Care always got to love Danco Joe and all that crew over there. They do a great job. But this is we're gonna have a little year in review, obviously, because since the last time we talked, the only real things that have happened are a couple staff renderings here and talkings of, and Chad, you and Dave really touched on that and harped on it on the BCJ pod, and I'm sure there are other topics that have been talked about throughout the nightcaps. So,
haven't really been any nightcaps. We've taken a couple days off.
Right. Well, Detroit, mercy, mercy. But good, interesting game. But close out the non-conference slate. We'll touch on a little basketball later on today as well. But this is kind of a year in review, a kind of a weird, wild year for Bearcat sports and kind of the entire college sports landscape, if you will. But first, we got to continue with the most recent news, and that would be Joe Huber entering the transfer portal, starting right tackle for the Bearcats this past season. So with Huber entering the portal, with both Jeremy Cooper as well as James Tunstall announcing that they will be moving on to their next step in their careers. Did Dylan O'Quinn send one of those out yet?
That's not really his style.
Right.
I would be surprised if Dylan comes back.
Yeah.
From everything I had heard previously,
right,
the plan was to move on to adulthood and fatherhood and all of that stuff. But I mean, unless we hear different, I'm not expecting Dio to come back. So I'm not expecting Metz to come back either.
Right. So with Joe Huber's announcement,
who was expecting Blue Smith to enter the transfer portal? So anything can happen, right?
I don't know that was.
There are different reasons for entering transfer portals, but
sometimes you walk to the transfer portal, and sometimes someone drives you there.
Sometimes you run, you dead sprint to the transfer portal as well. So
that too.
So that leaves obviously a huge hole at offensive line.
The O-line room is starting to look a lot like the wide receiver room.
That's great. That's great.
Huber obviously he was statistically, I guess, rating wise, PFF and different rating formulas had him slated as arguably the best lineman of the group this past season.
I put very little into that because generally the people that do the gradings on PFF are like interns.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm guessing the interns aren't fully versed in like offensive line assignments.
Yeah.
Like, what you were supposed to do and when and where and why.
Right.
That's not to say I thought Joe had a great year. That's not to take away from Joe. I'm just saying.
Regardless, it's the best metric we have, I guess.
Yeah. It's still not very good, but it's the best of what. I know at times some of those PFF ratings have come out over the last couple of years.
Yeah.
And then you talk to the coaches and they're like, I don't know what they were looking at, but those look nothing like the grades that we had.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just adding context to it is probably the best thing we have to allow us to talk about offensive line without having an offensive lineman on the show.
Right.
I'm just saying, use with somewhat of a grain of salt.
Yeah.
When you're talking about the O-line metrics from PFF and whatnot. That's all.
I would venture to say it's probably the most surprising name so far that we've seen enter the portal.
I'm not going to be surprised by anybody or anything.
Right. Yeah, no, I agree with that. Just the whole story of Joe Huber was just it was a great story. And it seemed like he was, finally got to the top of the mountain where he was able to compete as a starter. Then the coaching change happens. Then it's going to be yet another offensive line coach coming in, and him having to learn under that new offensive line coach. It just seems as if things are already tough for a walk-on offensive lineman, and the ability for him to rise up to the level that he was at this year says a lot. But he was also one of the younger ones across the starting unit. Obviously, him and Gavin Gerhardt. So now the question obviously is, how do you fill all those holes? And staff's already been hard at work with that, and it'll be obviously an ongoing thing.
They've also got cars at the portal waiting for pickups.
Right. Holding up numerous names,
right?
Hoping someone says, "Yep, okay," and then drive them back as fast as possible to Clinton.
Right.
But I don't know. It's going to be an ongoing thing, and just thought that was an interesting one to see today, because you thought Joe Huber was kind of that's a Cincy guy, rising from walk on all the way up to a starting right tackle, and be a guy to kind of bridge the gap in between the two coaching staffs. But either way,
I'm guessing he'll do all right.
Yeah, I think so.
I'm guessing somebody's going to give Joe Huber a scholarship.
Yeah, so someone's gonna give a good look at that size, that ability, and say, "Come on in, right. we got a starting role for you here." But yeah, again,
look, we loved having his dad around. His dad would pop in from time to time, and great guy. Met him a couple times. It will stink not having the family around. I put them in touch with 513 shirts for the Joe Huber collection, and like I said, they were part of the BCJ community. So always hate to see one of those go, but it is kind of what it is at this point in time. You're Aaron, get on it.
Man, that was quick.
I know.
I mean, shoot.
All tastes and ages.
It is Christmas.
Ho, 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 as some would say.
Oh, that was probably what set him off. I was going to come on with like a Santa hat on and everything, but that probably would have brought everyone into the group chat.
Just the Santa hat?
Yeah, just the Santa hat. And who said it was going to be only on my head? You know what I mean? But
no, I don't know what you mean, and I'm not feeling well, so I would appreciate if you didn't elaborate.
Chad's screen goes black right now. But yeah, I mean, obviously it's it'll be a slow day here, but if Mr. Huber was in the stream, obviously he was a guy that popped in numerous times, just thanks us for just telling his son's story and promoting him and promoting the team and whatnot. I think Danco Joe was good friends with him, was at numerous tailgates with him, and this, that, and the other. So easy, Jason. So it's kind of it's a tough time, obviously, because there's going to be a lot of change, but you see some of the huge moves that have been made over the past week or so, and you start to get a look and see, maybe there's some big league moves that are being made. So, the thing to do right now is kind of trust the process. I hate saying that because I think a lot of people use that in situations like this, but seemingly that is what we only can do right now.
You don't even have to trust the process. You just
go through it.
You just have to go through it. Like we can't even trust it right now because we're still roughly 6-7 days away from when they want to have kind of everything lined up and set. A week from tomorrow is the date that we were given by Scott Satterfield, or a week from Wednesday is the date we were given by Scott Satterfield, January 3rd.
Yeah.
And then the portal visit window opens the 4th through the 8th. Mm-hmm. And then classes start on the 9th. Yeah. So they're going to have hiring decisions that are going to be made in the next week. Mm-hmm. They're going to have portal names that are going to be popping up on campus starting on the 4th.
Right.
And then you're going to have commitments very soon after, because if you want to enroll and get into
spring ball,
you've got a very short window there after the 9th. I think it used to, and I know what it used to be. I guess it's still the same. You have 10 business days to enroll after the first day of classes.
Right.
So the late enrollment, the late registration goes for 2 weeks. So I know things are a little tight right now on news and information. But trust me, this is the calm before quite a storm will be brewing around this time next week.
Wild and kind of an unknown storm too, because this is unprecedented times around college football in general, and then around certain teams around the country who have a new coaching staff and have so many holes that they need to have filled. So
yeah,
buckle in. I am interested to hear your guys' thoughts when Coach Satterfield did say that of January 3rd, because obviously there's a process with the new hires that goes through, and then all of a sudden, until they're officially announced, is January 3rd. Do you think that's like a hard date that he has in mind where everything, or for the most part, things will be lined up and set? Or do you think January 3rd is just kind of where he wants to have everything kind of
internally?
done?
I mean, you can't predict the UC HR like hiring process. There's that's going to play out of its own volition. So that he's just wanting to have boots on the ground.
Right. And they're still allowed to take part in recruiting and coaching and whatnot, even if they aren't officially announced through the university. I'm pretty sure, right? Aaron, I'm trying to remember.
Yes.
I think they are. Yeah. Okay. Cool. So
once they are on campus, they can
good.
take part in that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Sorry, give me a sec here.
You're good. You're good. Aaron, anything else kind of catch your eye over the past week? You've been on, obviously the BCJ pod producing that one as well, where they kind of mentioned a couple of really big important hires there, and of course some movements in the portal and obviously signing day last Wednesday as well. Anything else kind of catch your eye around the football team, football program that kind of either intrigues you or gets you a little nervous or frustrated?
I mean, there's still plenty of question marks. I think that's reason enough to be a little nervous, a little frustrated. Obviously, you want to see some of these holes get filled as far as OC goes, as far as some of the coaching spots that are still open go. But what can you do? I mean, this is all part of the fun of the bowl season, because you got 48 bowls featuring 6 and 7 teams about God knows what. The Hellman's Onion Dip Bowl and
the Duke Mayo Bowl,
whatever. It's all stupid. There's too many of these things. I hate ESPN. They've ruined college football. But outside of that, nothing's really caught my eye. I mean, it's just this is the first coaching change that I've been around for, as far as this in the weeds, if you will.
Right.
And so no, I mean, nothing really. I think the shock's worn off, and now it's like hurry up and wait, as we have no idea what's going on, who's coming, and
right. Yeah, I think my number one is kind of just the Zach Grant news. Obviously, that Chad has kind of gone on the board, and then also was gone in depth on the BCJ pod last week. It's a different, you talk about the bump in the assistant salary pool,
mm-hmm.
and that's a clear eyes heading that way. And you know what, it's run differently, and that's something that's going to be that's big time college football right there. So that's a move that I love to see, and one that I did a little bit further look into. Obviously, hearing Chad and Dave talk about it more, on top of just reading things and just seeing the success he's had. It's pretty fascinating to see what can happen with that, and the other coaches that will be understaffed there. So,
did you check to see how many? Because I know how you research, so I wasn't sure if you researched how many other schools have a GM position.
Oh no, that was it was amidst traveling, so
I don't think there are any at this point.
Okay,
I think in basketball there's been a couple where they've in college basketball they've hired someone as the head, or not calling them a coach, but kind of just this is the source of the roles and whatnot.
Chief of staff has been a big thing, but this is a new. Is the new GM position confirmed? No, it's rumored at this point, but I think it's a good rumor. Yeah, I think it's a rumor you should pay attention to. How's that?
It's just a juicy name, and at this point in the game, I like hearing juicy names, and it's fun to just dive in and come up with the what ifs that follow that. So I mean, obviously football is going to fire up, And in the midst of all the weird games that are going on right now, like my dad and I were talking about that today. It's like, what's been your favorite bowl game so far? And it's like, I mean, I think the only bowl game I watched from beginning to end was the Fenway Bowl, and that wasn't quite fun. So I don't think I have an answer for you there, but it's been a lot of weird games, but it should fire up soon. So we will see. We will see. Anything else football wise, guys? Obviously, it's a lot of different players have mentioned that they're heading on to the NFL or their next step in life, which is expected
Aaron,
at this point.
have you recovered? Are you okay with the Bluesmith news? Like we haven't really
yeah,
heard
Aaron,
from you
let's hear
since
more.
then.
Yeah,
I mean,
soapbox, yours.
I was wanted him to show glimpses of that 4-star or was it 4-star receiver that he was
4-star, yeah.
when he came out of high school. Unfortunately, it just never really worked out for him in Cincinnati, or Ohio State for that matter. I wanted to be one of the early ones on that bandwagon, as we have the same last name, so obviously we're related. But it just never worked out. So happy trails, Bluesmith.
Man, that was something that I was laughing at. John Smith and Blue Smith, Aaron Smith. Like, you've got a lot of really cool, relatives. I'm kind of jealous, but is what it is. But good luck to Blue. I'm interested to see where he'll land and all these other players as well. But more importantly, the players that are coming in. Obviously Barry Jackson on signing day was a huge name there at the end of the day. Finally, a lot of surprises popping up, especially obviously Emory Jones is going to be a player that kind of grabs headlines and is discussed more. So as things start to fall in line and as January 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th comes, we're going to get a better story and a better connection on all of these dots. So stay locked in, because this ball has only just started rolling. It's going to be exciting. But without further ado, shall we roll into? You want to do basketball now, and then roll into the year review? Or
before we get to the timestamp, we do have a new sponsor that we've been talking a little bit about.
Oh, we have,
and it is live. And there is the link. Can you not click on that? You can't click on that, can you? I don't think they can click on it.
There's no, but the link is on Bearcat Journal. I'm looking at it right now.
The link is now on Bearcat Journal. You can use that there, and that will get you your pre-registration for Betfred. If you don't know, Betfred is the official sports gaming partner of BearcatJournal.com. If you sign up for pre-registration, you get to be on a list to be one of the first to bet with Betfred in Ohio. There's a $20 free bet on the Bengals to win the Super Bowl. There's another welcome offer on January 1st that can get you up to $1,111 in free bets. Plus, you get an invite to the New Year's Day betting party at the Fowling Warehouse and a chance to win tickets to the Bengals, merch, free bets, all kinds of good stuff. So make sure you get to Bearcat Journal, grab that link, and get your pre-registration to get you into Betfred Sports as we get ready for gambling, sports gaming, going live in Ohio on January 1st. And then timestamp.
Hey.
Yeah. Quick Paper Supply, your local and family-owned restaurant supply company for all your non-food products. Quick Paper services over 150 restaurants with weekly, low minimum next day deliveries, providing a wide range of food service products from to-go containers, cups, custom printed products, eco-friendly, and much more. They also have cleaning and restroom supplies for all your janitorial needs. Call Nick 513-470-2029. Reference Bearcats for 20% off your first month of purchases.
There you go. That was good. We can kind of tie Quick Paper Supply in with the gambling. When things are going down, maybe you can you bite on some sort of product they send to us, like a little stress ball or something. I don't know. Could be nice. We're always trying to figure out how to roll them in with everything else, but see a golden opportunity here. Golden. But I don't know. Gamble responsibly, Aaron. I know it's legal for you now. Gamble responsibly. Talking about balls rolling quickly. That one rolls pretty damn quick, my man. But should we roll on to basketball real quick? Obviously, just
as you say that, Brent, I did want to say
yes
that this site is 100% for entertainment purposes only and does not involve real money betting. Gambling can be addictive. Please play responsibly. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER in the U.S. The service is intended for adult users only. Individuals must be 21 or older to participate in sports betting and iGaming in the U.S.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
I think you only have to say that if we're giving out picks, and we have not done that yet. We
just look. January 1st is right around the corner. We're all getting ready.
What kind of picks you want? It does kind of suck that it's only NFL on Sunday and not the college football playoff games and other big bowl games on Sunday.
You get the championship.
Yeah, you do get the national championship and the other, I guess, New Year's Day
other bowls. Yeah.
Other New Year's Day bowls that don't even happen on New Year's Day. It's just that's just where we are. Chad Sam is asking any updates on the IPF. Have we heard anything more on that?
John Cunningham says they're breaking ground shortly, as in within the next couple of weeks, and that the project is on track. So That's as much as we know.
Mm-hmm.
From what it sounds like, they are starting with the demolition as they continue to finish the designs. You've got a new coach. You've got new set of eyes. You're not necessarily going to build it to Luke Fickell's specifics if Scott Satterfield has some different ideas. So I think that's why you're not seeing the renderings and the finalized design plans yet, because I think they're being smart about, we have this much time until we have to actually end the demolition phase and start the construction phase. Let's get as close to that as possible to make sure we get it right.
Right.
So that's as much as I know on the IPF at this point in time.
Yeah, which is the smartest thing to do for now. And Jason said, saw a stat UC is currently third in Big 12 recruiting on a player average score perspective. I think that is high school only. Because
it's average player rating of the 11 high school recruits,
right? And the lesser the number of high level high school recruits, then the greater your average score rating will be. So,
remember, like we talked about on signing day, like the lowest rated kid is up over an 86.
Yeah,
in this class, and that used to be the highest rated kid in their high school class. So
86, 114. Yep.
Yeah. Ty Perkins and Josh Gregory are both 86, 14.
Yep.
And that used to be, if it wasn't the top rated kid, it was almost always like a top 3 kid in the class. And that's 10 and 11. So they did a really good job with quality, but just not a lot of quantity, which I think instead you will see in the portal.
Mm-hmm. And then obviously the whole Emory Jones, Dorian Jones, a lot of good additions there. Trevor Radosevich and Luke Kandra. So those will be names, and then there'll be more names added to that. There has to be more names added to that, unless you want to throw. I don't know.
You're going to play without an offensive line and wide receiver.
Right? Exactly. So stay tuned. Basketball, real quick, before we do year rewind. It's just kind of the Detroit Mercy game wrapped up. Players went home. Now it is conference season. Tulane on Thursday night. What do you think about that 9 p.m. tip, man? There's a couple of those this year. That is that's a doozy right there. That just means what the nightcap will air around 12:30. That's nice. Golly.
Can't wait.
And I'll have to be up bright and early to be at the hospital in the morning. I'm so excited about that.
Right. Right. And then
I guess it beats writing about it afterwards, right?
I guess, yeah.
There's a bunch of those Thursdays and then Sunday games. I don't know how you guys feel about the Thursday and then Sunday schedule. It kind of feels like it's a bit longer of a layoff for that week game, but then that weekend game kind of comes up real quick. But I don't know. Just kind of sets
I
up.
can't wait to not be in this conference anymore.
Right. It's
final stretch.
It's a tough.
It's the
tough
final countdown. Do.
You know, even through your sickness, you still got some pipes of gold right there, Jeff.
I can
Don't
say
let anyone ever hold it. But still, I beat Tulane, beat Temple, beat Wichita State. All very, very possible things to do. Then you head into that Sunday, January 8th game at home versus Houston, who's currently number 1 in KenPom again. So conference season is here. No better thing to do than just whoop up on all these AAC teams and put the Big 12 logo on Fifth Third Arena for like the second half of the season. Why not? Why not? Screw it.
Just a middle finger to everybody.
Or like on senior night, just be like, oh shoot, we thought senior day was like yesterday, and we accidentally made the movements and whatever. I don't know, but
that question was about the football field. I don't know when they're gonna. They took the AAC logo off. I can promise you before they play a game that the Big 12 logo will be on Nippert Stadium, the field.
It won't be the FCC Cincinnati logo. That won't be going on there.
There either. No.
Okay. There we go. So we cross those things off. I guess non-conference. Just real quick, guys. Non-conference. Let's go. Your MVP, then your most surprising player, and number 1 area of improvement needed. Aaron, I'm going to send you down for MVP of the non-conference on the team real fast.
MVP of the non-conference?
Yep.
Probably Vic.
Okay.
I think the right answer is probably Dave. Just because of how heavy a load he's carried at some points in time. But there's like eight different awards you could give to Vic.
Well, I'd give it to Vic because of the double doubles. Like, I mean, he's doing it not just in points; he's also doing it in rebounds. He's also doing it defensively. Like, not that Dave's not doing things defensively, but I mean, just with rebounding being as dire straits as it is right now. That's why I'm giving him the MVP.
Okay, Chad,
Dave.
Yeah.
This offense is humming at a really high level. Dave has been the best offensive player. So I think for me, Dave is the easy choice there. But like I said, there's like 8 other things you could give to Vic.
Yeah.
And right. Vic is also shooting an insane 72% correct.
Right. And he's taken 1 3-pointer, maybe 2, and he splashed one of them. It's just, I think it's like a guy.
He's also largely staying out of personal foul trouble, which has been an Achilles heel for him.
It's just how can they figure out ways to? I guess it's all conditioning at this point to keep him on the field, on the court as long as possible in order to, because the backup bigs have done a solid job building, but we're starting to see the best lineup with the bigs might be with Odie next to Vic at times. So it'd be interesting.
As we saw against Detroit, though, that is dependent on the opponent.
Right.
Detroit ran 5 perimeter guys out there. You don't want 2 bigs.
Detroit's 5-man is a former top 40 wing.
Right.
So, yeah, I agree. How about most surprising, Aaron?
I mean, I don't want to do this all night, but
do it again.
I'd also say Vic on that too. I mean,
okay.
We knew that he needed to be good, but I don't think any of us were ready for him to
take that
elevate to this level so quickly this season. I think we were hoping that we would see where he's at right now by the end of the season.
Right.
But I don't think anybody anticipated him to elevate as quickly as he did.
I mean, we've heard that it's in there, that this type of talent is something that he possesses. He just looked a long way from it at the end of last season. So yeah, like to see him take this type of jump to play like he did against some of the better competition that they've played as well.
Right.
I think he's been the most reliable piece on this team so far. And like you said, Aaron, like the biggest thing is he's managed to cut down the foul situation where, he hasn't like fouled out a ton. That hasn't been a problem. The problem has been more he's got 2 fouls with 12 minutes left in the first half.
Right. Can't play him.
And you can't play him, or if you can play him, then he's got to be ultra passive,
right?
So that he doesn't pick up his third. But yeah, the progress we've seen from Vic over the past 2 months has been incredible.
It has been, and I mentioned it before on the pods. Is all the national podcasts that I listen to leading into the season, whether it be Gary Parrish and Matt Norlander, or whether it be Goodman, or whether it be your boy Chad John Rothstein, they always mentioned that Wes told them to look out for Victor Locken, look out for Victor Locken, the one player on the team he expects to make a big jump. I think the Kalu Ezikpe signing and kind of seeing Kalu in the videos and hearing he was the best player on the court, super secretly hearing about it for the second scrimmage that the team had. It just seems like that kind of covered up a little bit of what the promise for Vic was, and Vic just being an underclassman as well. But my pick for most surprising, I'm going to go with Odie, just to be kind of against the grain a little bit here. He's shown a lot over the last 6-7 games where at times in the beginning of the season it looked like he was a little lost, looked like he was a little bit in front of the skis, in front of the skates, whatever you wanted to say on this beautiful winter day. Now he's kind of honing it in, and he is using his aggression, using his athleticism the right way, and his blocks have been on point, his dunks have been on point, his points in the paint have been on point, if you will. So I think Odie's been a bit of a surprise for me over the last few games for the most part. So I'll
say OLI on this one is Micah Adams Woods.
Yeah, no doubt. I agree.
Especially had a very solid first half of the season for sure.
Especially with Rob going down and for point guard to almost improve with Rob going down and with DeJulius and Micah there at the point guard, we haven't really seen a fall off. Yeah, especially at that position with missing a guy that you expected to be a key component. So I wanted to just shout out Mike Adams Woods as an OLI right here, because I think that there's maybe nowhere else that you may be able to say that here in your superlatives. So
I like that. So no, it's weird because the shots last season where you would be like, no, Micah, like now you're like, wow,
where he's going up and around.
Like, Mike is making all the right moves. He seems to be a little bit more crafty at the rim. He's kind of had the same shot selection that he did when he was a freshman, and there were a lot of talented players around him with Jaren and
just seems like he gets it this year. Yeah, like he's not forcing things nearly as much as he was last year.
Like Wes sat him down. Wes told him what he wants him to do, and now he's doing it.
Yeah,
and
last year he was also tasked with, especially through that second half of the season, like somebody has to step up and help Dave. Right. Someone has to do it. And he tried. It wasn't a role that he was very good at.
That's an excellent point, Fake John Goebel. Mike Adams was, if for no other reason, the board has gone from boot him from the team to, well, maybe he can fill a role next year if he uses his COVID year.
Right.
There's a lot of schizophrenia on the board.
But he looks like a guy that Wes sat down and said, hey, I want you to fill this role. And that's exactly what he's been doing. So he's been doing it very well. So last but not least, number one thing that needs to be improved on through the conference slate in order for this team to really catch a ride and start gaining a lot of momentum heading into February and March. Aaron.
AA round.
Defense, like this defense has no identity whatsoever. I know they tried to be pressed early on in the out of conference. That they've gone away from the press.
It's just so hard to press with no rim protection.
Right.
I get it, but
it's just so hard.
They need to find an identity, stick with it, and whether that's running, the 2-3 or whether that's the zone, I don't know. Whatever it would.
Look, I'm going to say this again. If they were good at playing zone, they would be playing some zone.
Right.
The fact that they're not tells me that they're doing it in practice. It looks worse than man-to-man, right?
Worse. In any case, that's what I want to see most improved is defense. I think that if the offense was improved, they'd be scoring 100 a night. But that's only because the defense would be allowing the other team to keep up with them at 100 a night. Right. So I don't want to see that. I'd like to see the offense clicking as it is, and I'd like to see defense figure it out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. Chad?
Defense and rebounding are the two that, consistently –
I was giving somebody else rebounding.
Yeah. They have consistently been inconsistent. So, look, you hold a team that can score like Detroit did to 54 points. Like, maybe you kind of feel like you're figuring out an identity. One, with Dave being a lot more aggressive, defending the ball handler out top.
Dave's D has been unreal.
Yeah, and then Odie giving you a little bit different look at the 4 spot defensively. They're pushing some of the right buttons to get things aimed in the right direction after, again, you lose your 2 best defenders.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here's the problem with that, Jason. That's what they tried. They tried to soft press to force the other team to take 6 or 7 seconds to get the ball across. And teams instead just threw it over the top of the press and got buckets. Yeah, that's exactly what they were trying to do, because they knew without John and then eventually without Rob, sitting down and guarding was going to be a great challenge for this team, because they didn't have a lot of naturally really gifted defenders. So that's what the press you saw was, that 2-2-1 sag it back press where they didn't really put any pressure on the ball is designed to take 6 seconds off the clock and force teams to start their offense, at 20, 18 seconds. And teams just said, oh, okay, yeah, okay, sure. Bing, 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 layup, bing, 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 open 3. Okay, we got to get out of the press. Yeah. That was the intention of the 2-2-1.
And when you have Vic as your last line of defense, it brings up Aaron's point again, where that's the epitome of where fouls can happen, is when you've got 2 people coming at you and you make a last-second decision and you're fouling the guy. So I did like that they have reverted a little bit back from that. I think it's only been – we've been seeing a lot of man-to-man, 3-quarter court type pressure. And Dave, man, Dave DeJulius, you could just see where, against Detroit, he told himself, Antoine Davis is not scoring 40 in this game. He's going to shoot enough to score in the teens, but he's not going to get to 20. And he did the same thing against Xavier, against Sule Boom. And you can just see, he flips a switch, and it's something that I love to see. I love him barking. Keep barking, man. That's what really pumps up the team as well. So
that dog in him.
That's a dog, baby. That's a dog. For me, just not to roll with what you guys are saying. I just think continued development from the bench. I think it's pivotal to find a backup big. Still, I think Odie obviously has seen his role increase so much where he's not technically a backup. Yeah, he is, but he's going to.
He's a 1B.
Yeah, he's like a 1B. So
do we have to retire that now that Luke's gone? Can we not use 1A, 1B anymore?
Let's just push it off to basketball. We'll have 1A, 1Bs in basketball now and take up the whole team. How about that? But no, I think I don't know if Kalu maybe went home and comes back and he's like, wow, I'm ready to have a season. Or if Sage somehow is able to get some crazy development throughout the season as it goes, because there will be some games where both Vic and Odie get in foul trouble, and all of a sudden someone needs to step up, and we'll see what happens, because that'll be something to follow.
I don't know if it's just Kalu's hair the way it is, but he just always looks out of control at all times, like just moving about. Like I don't know what it is.
I think it's he's trying to the typical thing that a lot of people have is just trying to do too much, and the little time that you're out on the court to like make up for previous downfalls that you've had in other games. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So it's just, I got to get on and immediately produce instead of just slowly
let the game come to you. Yeah.
Right. I don't know. We'll see, because that'll be important, especially as later conference rolls around, where Vic is like dominating right now, but he's never played this many minutes probably ever, or at least in the last 3 years.
Not here.
Yeah. So we'll see. But I like where the team's at right now. I definitely like where the team's at, and maybe an ultra aggressive Landers Nolly at all times, like. When Landers is turned up his aggression, he is awesome. So, and I think in big games, bright lights, I think that's when he'll hopefully kind of try and show out like he did against Xavier in the second half.
Then he may want to stick around for next year.
Oh, okay.
Because there's far more bright lights in that conference schedule than
they're quite in
this one.
You mean you aren't excited for the ECU Pirates coming into town? Little Tulane Green Wave?
No.
I'm not upset I can't go to games for a month.
Yeah.
It's funny because I believe you.
Beat Tulane on Thursday. Let's see it. And then Sunday, you head to Temple. Two teams are expected to be better than what they are so far this year. So, it's an important week, because if you can head into Houston riding this win streak, I mean, that has dwindled all the way down to only a 9-point prediction spread right there. So, man, you know what? Who knows? So go ahead.
This is still maybe the most interesting conference season I've ever seen, because outside of Houston and Memphis, Cincinnati has not played anyone in the range of the conference.
Right.
They've either played top 30 games or they've played bottom 100 games.
Yep.
And the conference is all in between.
Yep.
So we have I know the Kim Pom predictor has them 11-7.
10-8 right now. Yeah, 10-8.
I mean, and it varies.
Yeah, it'll fluctuate. Yeah.
But yeah, I think this team is good enough that they should be better than 10-8, 11-7.
I agree.
I think it should be a 12-win or so conference, a 12-win team in this conference.
Mm-hmm.
But the reality is, we've only seen them on the road once, and we don't talk about what happened in that game. So
I can't even 11 points in the second. That's just mind blowing.
We don't talk about it.
I think about it every night before I go to sleep. It's hard.
That's weird.
Quick paper supply. Let's get into this year in review.
All right. As always, make sure if you've got a business that is in need, contact Quick Paper Supply, your local and family-owned restaurant supply company for all your non-food products. Quick Paper services over 150 restaurants with weekly low minimum next day deliveries, providing a wide range of food service products from to-go containers, cups, custom printed products, eco-friendly, and much more. They also have cleaning and restroom supplies for all your janitorial needs. They've been open since 2009 and are one of the largest minority-owned companies in the city. Call Nick 513-470-2029 and reference Bearcats for 20% off your first month purchase. And just Bearcats. Don't just start saying random ass names, because Nick's not going to know what you're talking about.
Nobody would.
John Goble sent me. The real one, not the fake one.
The real guy. That running back. Remember him? All right, so year review. My crazy self got home from a little day out around town, and figured out that you can like advanced search tweets over the last year and go through them all, and kind of done a bit of an outline of like somewhat larger events based off of what Bearcat Journal has tweeted. Chad, you were in there for a little, but man, you tweet so much, man. I had to take your name out of there. It would have taken me 4 days to fiddle through all this. Anyway, yeah. So
it's fine.
First off, I want to just a broad overview of what you would kind of like a nutshell, where if someone in the year 2040 went back and just read a little thing that you had mentioned, a tiny 2 or 3 sentence write up about the 2022 year in sports for the Cincinnati Bearcats, what would they read in that year? And Aaron, it looks like you're typing something up right now. So Chad, I'm gonna pass over to you for just a quick little short synopsis someone would read that you wrote about the 2022 Cincinnati Bearcats sports season year in review.
9 players drafted for the first group of 5 school to have 9 players drafted. Luke Fickell leaves is going to be one of the bigger stories in sports for the year. Luke Fickell goes to Wisconsin.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Ahmad Gardner becomes a star, but that's going to be a Jets thing more than it's a Bearcats thing, even though we take a lot of pride in it.
We own it.
We own it. Well, the most popular sports podcast in the world is hosted by 2 Bearcats.
And they wear Bearcats things more than anything else.
There's a couple for me.
Okay. Aaron, just quick little synopsis, because I've got kind of dates by dates, and just want you guys to then reminisce on those times throughout the year that have gone through.
The Cincinnati Bearcats break the glass ceiling as the first team
that was 2021 though.
Wasn't it?
They played on New Year's Eve.
Well, technically.
I mean, I was driving home from Texas when the ball dropped.
Right.
Technically that was 2021.
I was still hanging out in Dallas.
But you could be watching the highlights the next day on the first. And you're
still in Dallas.
Cincinnati was in the college football playoff.
I still had to drive home through that ice storm in Arkansas.
Right.
Man.
Thank God I got out of there the night before.
Yeah, no shit. Outside of that, though, we
talk.
I mean, I was just trying to think. Like, went down to Arkansas. Me and Brent. That was we went down to Arkansas and hung out down in Arkansas. That was fun.
So that's all we did.
That's all we did. Just hung out.
Didn't go to no games, nothing.
In the open air press box.
Mm-hmm.
And then we met back up at UCF.
Yeah, well, we did.
There. So we traveled a bit this year between Dallas, Arkansas, UCF. You had a team that underachieved. I think we all expected more than 9-3, 9-4 with the bowl game. Obviously, Luke Fickell leaves, and you wonder when the writing was on the wall for him. But that's a story for a different day. And now we're on to Coach Satterfield.
The end of the home winning streak.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, end of the
That's a big one.
End of the Nipper winning streak.
I've got all those in this next little segment, guys. So for me, quick synopsis.
You get all of our trips in there?
I wish I did. Yes, but kind of I do. The movement to Bearcats in the NFL and Saturdays in Clifton. There we go.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to get behind Saturdays.
I mean, it works.
It's kind of corny.
It works, though. It absolutely works.
It does. Aaron, your thoughts on Saturdays?
I hate it.
I'm not. I don't love
I hate it. I don't know. I think it's because it's already been done. Like it's not new for him. That's not something that's.
Did Louisville do it?
I feel like I saw it somewhere. If not, then I saw UC's main tweet
They
on
did.
it. I saw Ed do it when it first happened. So I can't imagine that Ed was the first one to come up with it.
It's too easy.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's a layup. I like things that are more clever than that. I don't think that's clever enough. I think that's the low-hanging fruit.
I agree.
Do you have anything like a different idea?
No. Yeah, Bearcat games.
Okay,
that's what I call them.
The Bearcat games.
Yeah.
I like that. Alrighty, so pretty interesting. Just real quick, it was yes, Chad is technically correct. The season did end. The memorable best season in Bearcats football history did end in the year 2021. So the first kind of big storyline to pop off in 2022 was on January 3rd, Ivan Pace transferred to Cincinnati. And at the time, guys, it probably didn't seem like that was really going to be too much big news. Obviously, a good name transfer coming into Cincinnati, returning home, if you will. I guess if you consider going from Oxford back to Cincinnati home. But it ended up being probably one of the bigger moves, singular season wise, so far to them being there. So thoughts on just the Ivan Pace transfer, if you guys can remember when you first saw that he announced he was coming back to Cincinnati.
I mean, the general consensus was it was critical in keeping Deshaun here, right? Not that Ivan was the prize catch, but that, this ensured that Deshaun wasn't going to flirt with the transfer portal, try to find a place that they could go play together. Because they made it pretty clear, pretty evident, I think, that they were going to play together. It was just a matter of, was it going to be at Cincinnati or was it going to be somewhere else? And Ivan had a solid year. It definitely wasn't as good as his Deshaun, had a solid year. It definitely wasn't as good as his 21 season. But yeah, Ivan stole the show.
Superstar.
And kind of weird, on January 7th, Desmond Ridder says goodbye to Cincinnati. You guys remember that heartfelt video that he posted. And on that same exact day, Ben Bryant transfers back to Cincinnati. Thoughts when you saw, obviously there's plenty of conversation surrounding Ben Bryant's transfer back, different things of that sort. But when that news was starting to come out, it was especially interesting that it fell. And another interesting tidbit is that on January 7th of 2021, Ben Bryant transferred to Eastern Michigan. So a lot of January 7th when it comes to
synergy. Considering we knew that Ben was coming back behind the scenes in September, right. I kid, but it was pretty early in the process that we had a good idea that Ben was coming back for 2022. It was kind of a formality at that point. We had been hinting about it on shows and wink, wink, nudge, nudging it. I think I did actually mention it in October at one of the Holy Grail shows that, keep an eye on Eastern Michigan's quarterback. I hear he could be somebody of interest in the portal. But it definitely set up for a year of very interesting conversation and a year where the fan base in a lot of ways made itself look bad.
If you kind of remember, Aaron, when you,
I was excited because I thought that meant that we'd have a great backup here.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. The whole thought was that Evan Prater, by the time Dez was gone, was going to roll
by
in.
Y'all. The whole thought by y'all.
By the fan base.
Yeah.
And I come on, I listened to you every time you talk, Chad. So I understood that there's two sides to every feeling, but yeah, I mean the hope, I guess you'd say, was that would be what would kind of fall in line. And yet again, there you go. The greatest quarterback and arguably top 3 player in Cincinnati football history says goodbye to the program. And then on the same day, it's Ben Bryant coming back. I just thought that was pretty interesting. So something to chew on a bit there. And then 3 straight days. First, January 17th, Gino Guidugli gets announced as offensive coordinator. Then January 18th, Kerry Combs returns to Cincinnati as special teams corners coach. Then January 19th, Walt Stewart hired as D-line coach. All those 3 obviously had big effects on this past year. The latter 2 quite possibly could have more lasting effects on the program from here on out. Kind of just obviously cool, Chad. I think you were one of the ones who broke Walt being announced here in Cincinnati as coach. So just a pretty cool 3 straight days back in January there. Anything on the coaches, Aaron? Any thoughts on your boy Kerry Combs returning to Cincinnati?
Well, Ohio State was done with him. They didn't want anything to do with him after their season the year prior. Right. And yeah, so it made sense for him to come back here. Why not? And he always, like, that's the thing about Kerry in Cincinnati is there's always a place for him here.
Right. And also the whole Gino thing was weird because that just seemed like another situation where Luke will be here for 10 years. Gino will be on his side, head coach in waiting type thing. And then we'll get to what happened later on in 2022 because that surely did not. February, only 3 quick ones. February 9th, 8 Bearcats invited to the NFL Combine. Obviously, this is something that was kind of discussed throughout the season. But to see those invitations first to the NFL Combine and then the performances of the players there was pretty special. And then the next one, I want to hear your guys' thoughts leading into it, and then your thoughts during it, and then your thoughts directly after it. Because I don't know if you guys know, but on January 18th, you guys held the first BCJ subathon. Take it away, Aaron.
That was February, right? February 18th?
February.
Yeah, sorry, did I say January? I meant February.
Yeah, I think
Yep.
you said February.
It was a lot of fun to put together as far as mapping out where we were going to have different guests and what have you. What was supposed to be 12 hours turned into 15 as drinks started flowing, and we were really, really wanting to hit that elusive 1,000.
Right.
And damn it, we did it.
We did.
And
I spammed Twitter every 15 minutes for like 3 hours.
It was
got there.
That was a historic event for Bearcat Journal. That was a historic event for, I think, my place with Chad. As you spend 15 hours straight with a guy like that, and I think you proved something.
Yep.
And I don't know.
It's a hell of a day.
It was fun.
By the way, if you want to chip in and throw a donation our way tonight, we're like $120 from our first $1,000 month. So you can help us get there as we continue to build this here YouTube channel.
Okay.
We're close.
That's exciting. February
Aaron can buy diapers this month.
Yes, the diaper daddy. I like it. The diaper daddy, Aaron. February 22nd, I don't know if you guys remember, but Dan Skillings had a viral poster dunk that Barstool Sports retweeted and posted, and it was making its rounds on the internet. And he's
been trying for one ever since he got here, too.
Yeah, exactly. It's something he's been wanting. He will. Just gotta keep rising, baby. Keep rising. March 11th. I guess we'll kind of wrap up the entire last basketball season in quick, short sentences. But that was when the basketball team lost March 11th to Houston in the AAC tournament in the second round to finish season 1 under Wes Miller, 18-15, and that was somewhat of a roller coaster ride of a season, if you will. A lot of losses piled up that February through March, but still showed some fight at the end of the year.
Thanks, G-Mac. Appreciate the donation.
Year 2.
Appreciate you, G-Mac.
You're the best, G-Mac. Thanks, G-Mac.
$115 away.
Yeah, my thoughts on that season ending was just we're out of our misery.
Yeah, thank God. That was as rough as some of those Big East, like early Big East days.
Right.
When it was just like they don't have any answers. And it was more frustrating because at least the teams in the Big East were really good.
Losing to UCF, USF, like
Tulane, Tulsa, like you name it, UC lost to them down the stretch last year. That made me feel like I feel today, where I constantly feel like I need to go visit the porcelain god.
The hardest one was that South Florida senior night game. That was just, oh my God.
Brutal.
But I mean, everyone knew that the team just needed talent and little development within as well. Now you see Vic rising up, Lander Zanali, huge addition. DDJ taking that second step, the freshman having impacts. And now you see what happens when the talent level takes that step. And hopefully they continue to ride that wave. Then, Chad, I want you to mention this more because it was something that I wasn't in attendance at. I think it was just you and Dave there. But March 24th, I highlighted Curtis Brooks putting up massive numbers at the widely attended UC Pro Day. But more, that was a pro day that was featured on NFL Network. It was kind of a stamp of the rise that the program was on. And it was kind of a showing of what they've done to really kind of open the eyes of the national media.
As someone that has been at a lot of UC Pro Days, that was unlike the others I had been to. Let's just say that. It was wild. I mean, just having that level of like attention and scrutiny and eyes, basically every team had a scout there. There were some scouting departments with 6, 7, 8 people there, head coaches, GMs, like looking around. It was another one of those, like in the progression of everything that surrounded that 2021 season. It was an extension of things are changing. Things are different now.
Is it the first time Tomlin's been back to UC?
Probably. I don't know. I don't recall over the past 16 years seeing him around for anything. Probably. But yeah, it was one of those days that you just look back on and you're like, man, like didn't think I would see this come to fruition at any point in my life, really.
Yeah.
There's 100 and something, almost 200 NFL personnel there, I think.
Mm-hmm.
You had to have a credential to get in to the pro day when it used to be just like me and Justin and like 6 of our friends. Like, like the
hey, you guys going to pro day today or?
I think there was even a year or two that I just I didn't go. I don't think because it didn't fit my schedule. Like it wasn't like you need to be at pro day today. Like that, it just never was really like that. So yeah, that was one of those days that kind of helped change things.
And it also seemed like it was a day that kind of peeked back the curtain a little bit to the level of depth of talent that the program had too, because Curtis Brooks was putting up massive numbers that like was overtaking numbers at the combine and really forced teams' hands into drafting him as well. So hopefully it's something that continues as there's still high level players in the program, and even though things have changed. Then David DeJulius announced he would return to the Bearcats. I think is this his COVID year this season? I think. Yeah. So that was big news, obviously, as we've seen David.
There was some question there. Like with Dave, you're not really sure like if he's going to zig or zag.
Right.
So seeing him announce that he was coming back, I think was big for the momentum that was they were trying to build towards this season.
Then
they only had one guy that could score. If
right.
the one guy that could score leaves, We're talking
You
about
got some things you got to figure out.
Up Schitt's Creek without a paddle.
Oh, heard that. Into April. On April 18th, Corey Kiner transfers to Cincinnati. This is more based on the discussion of high-level talent returning home, the homecoming hero thing continuing through transfers. And then, if you remember, I think that same night we had a BVP and I was live from Orlando Airport. What were you guys thinking as the whole Corey Kiner news was coming about? Another high-level Cincinnati kid coming home.
Thought he'd be more involved than he was this year.
Yeah.
Thought he should have probably taken more advantage of his opportunities to earn that, as some other guys did. But I digress. It was interesting because there were rumors surrounding him when the season ended. And when Brian Kelly came in, and then it sounded like he had, the relationship he had with Mike Denbrock was going to keep him in Louisiana. And then all of a sudden, one day towards the end of spring ball, it was like, he's going in the portal. Like, huh? And if he was going in the portal, it was pretty widely known, like he was coming home. Or at least widely believed he was coming home. So I still think Corey has an opportunity to have an outstanding career here. I think the offensive line, when it came to the run game, just never clicked. It never felt right. But I think he's gonna have to look in the mirror and crank it up a notch or two as we get into next year, and should help him with a little bit more run-heavy scheme, I would think.
Up next, Chad, you mentioned there wasn't much scoring for the basketball team heading into this season. Well, on April 27th, Landers Nolly, with the help of Fiona from the Cincinnati Zoo, announced that he was transferring to the Bearcats.
Big get. It gave you somebody to pair with Dave. It allowed you to slide Jeremiah Davenport down a notch. It allowed you to slide Mike Adams-Woods down a notch. I think it has helped Vic because it's created some spacing on the floor for Vic to operate. It was a big time get at the time, and he's had a little bit of inconsistency as like a go-to scorer.
Mm-hmm.
But he's a guy that helps the team in a lot of different ways, and he's been one of their more important pieces. If you asked me to rank him, I would have him third, behind Dave and Vic so far.
I agree.
And he gave us a hell of a performance in Maui against Arizona.
Gosh, that was beautiful.
Leaving him in tears on the baseline.
That was beautiful. Next up, obviously, was what I want, Aaron, because Chad, you already mentioned the importance that this had, and it's probably one of the bigger dates or span of days in football program history or Cincinnati sports history is April 28th through April 30th, starting with Sauce Gardner, ending with Curtis Brooks, 9 Bearcats drafted to the NFL.
Yeah, it's given me probably the most attention I've gotten on my Twitter handle in the history of my Twitter handle with the hashtag Bearcats in the NFL. But no, I mean, that was an exciting. We're not used to this, right? We're not Ohio State fans. We're not used to seeing guys scattered all over rounds 1 through 7. We got to see guys scattered from rounds 1 through 7, from top 5 pick through round 7. So we certainly got to see some things, and we've gotten to see those guys develop and do some things in the NFL. For a while, Kobe was leading the NFL in forced fumbles. Dez made his first start yesterday. No, last week. Second start yesterday. Improved start yesterday. Obviously, we saw guys like Joel not work out in the NFL and Darian have the injury, but we've gotten to see guys like Jerome Ford make it through the injury and end up on watch lists for Pro Bowl as a returner. Sauce became the highest voted rookie and got the starting job at corner. So everything about this season has been fun. It's really cool to see guys that were cultivated here pan out.
Completely agree. Chad, probably the most important day looking back on it.
Yeah,
Even
because
still,
because it shows, especially now going into the Big 12. Like now the conference thing doesn't matter anymore, and you can just say 9 guys drafted here, like in 1 year. That's something special, and there's a spotlight that can be placed on you here that's just as bright as pretty much anywhere else in the country. So yeah, it was a big day.
massive day. Here's an interesting one, guys. So May rolls around, and on the 1st and the 2nd of May, this has the potential to be kind of the we'll look back on these 2 days. Probably not, because you won't think of it, but I'm going to tell you about it. May 1st, Rayvon Griffith commits to Cincinnati. May 2nd, Brady Drogosh.
As a courtesy.
Right.
Yeah, as a courtesy, correct. Sorry, forgot to mention that. May 2nd, Brady Drogosh commits to Cincinnati.
I mean,
the future.
You're looking at your future quarterback and a future important piece as Wes Miller tries to rebuild the basketball program. I always get mad when they don't consult me about having these things on back-to-back days. It's inconvenient, and I don't like it. But yeah, that was a big little pop. That was another, Aaron. If we're talking about this YouTube channel, Ray jumping on with us right after he committed, like that was another that video for what 5 months was still generate one of our top revenue generating videos.
It didn't make sense. I think people like advertisers from YouTube were paying different ads for that particular video because of the traction that video got, which is crazy.
Yeah, it was weird.
You know what? People see that it's got a lot of views. They got to go check it out. So it's the gift that keeps on giving. But yeah, who knows? Maybe 3 years down the line, you look back and you're like, wow, that's kind of crazy. They both committed right around the same time, and they're both now leading the both sports and their both teams in within themselves for the Bearcats. So we'll see. May 24th, another new beginning for a famous Bearcat. May 24th, Ryan Royer's first BBP. That was a fun episode, guys.
Agreed. Yes. He's become an intricate part of this BBP Monday night team, and he's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, he has been. And I tell you what, that first episode, we learned about the fan and the different things that go into it, and we have used the fan now. I think we mentioned the fan more than anything else in Ryan Royer's playing days.
Yeah, it's the most talked about item of content on this podcast over the past 4 months for sure.
Right, there's no doubt about it.
We've definitely talked about that more than him being Mr. Bearcat.
Yeah, exactly. It's like we mentioned. So this is Mr. Bearcat, but you know, he had a fan back in the day. He'd throw people into. What are your thoughts on that? Now, this was a wild weekend, if you guys remember this one, or wild week and a half, I guess 5 days. June 4th through the 8th. Chad, you remember this one?
No.
Day McCullough.
Right now.
Day McCullough. Joshua Gregory. James Jenkins. Manny Covey. Jonas DeClona. Nick Oliveira. Aiden Green. Luke Evans. Ty Perkins. Kamari Burns. 10 commits over a 5-day period and 8 commits in only 2 days.
I was at a fish show, so I don't remember much. Anything.
you were at a fish show. I had family in town for a birthday party, so I was tied up. I was at the zoo. I don't know if you guys remember. I sent a picture to the group chat, and I said, no one told me that Luke Fickle was at the Cincinnati Zoo, and it was an elephant walking around with I'll let you take that whatever way you want to. But it was just that was a wild weekend.
How many of those guys are left?
It's funny that you mentioned that, Aaron. I think it's 2. I think the number is 2, maybe 3. Let's see here. Quick look. McCullough gone. Gregory still here. Jenkins gone. Yeah, maybe 2. It's looking like 2.
All right.
Oh, Manny Covey still here. Yep. Manny
Covey
Covey.
is. Yep.
Yep, 3. So, and then Ty Perkins.
4.
So yeah.
So maybe don't put a lot of weight into all of that
Kamari
stuff
Burns.
as it's happening.
Hey,
Yeah.
Thrifty Walrus. AP's having a really nice night so far because Ryan Royer's there.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, when Nick Foles isn't throwing it to the Chargers, I think he might have more completions to the Chargers than he does to the Colts. Felt like there was a 15-minute stretch where every time I looked over, there was an interception.
Whoops.
Whoopsies. Sorry.
Super Bowl champion.
Super Bowl champ. June 10th, Big 12 start date was announced, 7/1/2023. That is still happening, guys. I know a lot has happened since June 10th, and like weird things have happened, but that's still going to happen. The Big 12 move is still happening on the 1st of July in 2023. So don't change your calendars. That's still happening. So that announcement came on June 10th.
Which also might be when they release the conference schedule for this year.
So still keep your calendars and have the Sharpie ready to mark down where you need to go to for these games.
Even
Funny.
sick, I still can get a dad joke here.
Funny because it's true.
Yeah. That was good, Chad. July was a quiet month, but on the very first day of July, the 3 of us attended the final, what we didn't know at the time, but the final Squat Fest. And Chad found his Twitter profile pic.
I was glad that the month of July was quiet because Brennix was born.
Hey.
So
there you go. It's a busy week. Then I went to LA for a week.
Yep, that's
right. A little vacation action that I don't get to do much.
You know, when you get 10 commits, and I think it ended up being because I think Snowden committed, and then another commit happened. So I think there was like 12 in the span of like a week and a half.
It was like 12 of 16 or 18 kids that visited. They got 12 of them.
Exactly. So it was kind
of.
And
then like 3 of the kids did commit, and then never announced it publicly and committed somewhere else.
That's how the cookie crumbles there.
I know because I was standing next to Luke Fickell when those events happened.
Oh, I hate Kentucky.
Good old Kentucky. August, the Bearcats were selected 23rd in the AP poll, the first AP poll, but and cool. That's awesome to see. But August 30th, we taped our 100th episode of the BBP, and you guys kept me in the dark, and I was angry because I didn't get to do any research. But looking back,
you loved it.
It went pretty well, didn't it, guys?
You loved it. You loved the surprise of it all.
It went well.
It wouldn't have been as fun if we like filled you in on everything.
He was so uncomfortable.
It was great. Like that's it's like we threw you a surprise 100th episode party.
And I was invited. I already knew about the surprise, but it was like a series.
You just didn't know the guests. You knew that the party was happening. You just didn't know who was going to be there to celebrate with you.
A series of fortunate surprises. How about that?
Sometimes you just got to trust your partners.
I agree.
You know?
I agree. But yeah, I mean, that went well.
Still mad about it, Aaron. Clearly.
No, it went well. There was no like massive surprises.
I think he's down to bitter. Well.
Yeah, kind of bitter.
But you know, sometimes bitter food tastes good. You know what I mean? So let's roll with bitter. How about September 3rd? Aaron, this is what you mentioned. Our trip to Arkansas together.
Mm-hmm.
Bearcats fell to the Razorbacks. And I guess looking back on it, what was your guys' pulse after that game? Because I felt promise in the team because of the second half and the way that the offense started clicking and the way Ben Bryant was looking. But, man, to lose the opener, it had been the first time in I forget how many the first time since that Fresno State game during the first season of Bush Jones's tenure that the team lost their opening game of the season. What was your your pulse on things at that time, if you will?
I don't know. I mean, I still had hope in this team because the second half looked way better than the first half, but something felt off. When you saw
it just didn't click. Like it didn't.
Yeah.
And first game, you lose everything they lost. I think there was a reason still to be like, you know what though, they've got something to work with here. Like the things could be, everything they thought they could accomplish is still possible. And then, I mean, I don't know that we have to go through every week of the season with this thing.
I'm not going to.
Okay, good. But it just never felt like they got better.
Right.
You know, I think feels like the last step forward of the season.
Mm-hmm.
The first half of Indiana, like the offense was cooking the first half of Indiana. And then from the second half of Indiana on, it felt like they just didn't, things stayed about the same. They just didn't get better. They didn't show that type of improvement that you expect a team with as much talent as they had to make. Like it just, something felt disconnected after that first half at Indiana.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, the that second half of Indiana, man, that ruined a lot of hearts, but they still covered. So we'll roll on from that. September 16th, Mason Fletcher announces that he will donate all of his NIL earnings off of his jersey sales to the walk-ons because he cannot receive the payments due to being not from the States. This is an example of the NIL, and then the example of an amazing person, an amazing action that Mason Fletcher did. I just thought it deserved a nod. September 16th.
What a dude.
They put him at the 45-yard line, and I was like, I'm just going to kick it straight over his fucking head.
Yep. That
maybe my favorite moment of the season was hearing that gem from Mason Fletcher in the Miami game.
He knows how to talk. Let's just say that. But gosh, that was just an awesome gesture, and I think a lot of people had some. I said hi to Brent as he was leaving. Yes, I do, Darren. Quite I do. The night before had me a little bit in shambles. I'm not going to lie. And the heat
for the people listening on the podcast, even though Brent took the time to actually read it, but didn't read it out loud. In the chat, there's a comment. Darren fan says, "I said hi to Brent as he was leaving the alumni tailgate at the Archie game. I'm not sure if he remembers." So now you can respond properly.
Okay, so we went out the night before, had ourselves a blast. I was with you for a little bit, Aaron, as well, and
yes.
So the heat added on top of that, and I wore a long sleeve button down as I always do at these games.
I always shake my head at you.
And I tell you what, this was an especially hot one.
Yeah.
So that mixing with it, and like, oh man, I remember it, and shouts to you, Darren fan. Thank you for saying what's up, but man, I had seen better mornings, and that was a long morning. And then you throw in the jitters and nerves that I still get nervous before every game. And
we're sitting in the press box.
Come on, man. It's just how I am. I get nervous.
You are something else, Brent Young.
I sound more British than Aussie in that accent. Yeah, that's fine. Just don't ask me to do a Russian accent. It's terrible.
We'll leave that to Victor Locken. How about that?
The only accent I truly have down is Jamaican.
Okay.
And that's just from watching Half Baked 1,000 times. Son, if I wasn't Jamaican, why would I be wearing this hat? Lord have mercy. Down by the beach.
Lord have mercy is right. Lord have mercy is right.
Dave Chappelle, like his first breakout performance.
Oh, I love that movie. I don't know how to feel about your impression.
That was a good impression in my book. These next three is kind of where college basketball, Wes Miller had some big time movement, if you will. February 20th, Flory Badunga gets crystal ball to the Bearcats. He still has that crystal ball on 247 Sports on September.
August. You said February or September. You said February.
Oh no! Oh, September 20th.
There you go.
That's what I'm saying. And then September 30th, Isaiah Collier announces his commitment date of November 16th. And then on October 4th, Jizzle James commits to the Bearcats. As we look forward towards this, the future of Cincinnati, what of those three do you think will be the most that fans will look back? And obviously, the answer is probably Jizzle James, or who knows? Which of those
they get
three?
Flory, it's Flory,
right? So out of those three, it'd be if Flory does commit, then that would be the biggest
Flory,
of those three.
That's the answer.
Yeah.
But Jizzle James was widely important because it allowed them to continue the pursuit of Collier with a net, right?
Yeah.
They had to get a high-level point guard, a young, high-level point guard into this program, and getting Jizzle allowed you to continue going after Collier, but not having every single egg in that basket. So Jizzle was really important. Really important.
I concur.
Good old Jizzle. And we'll see what comes of that. October 8th, Chad, I just want you to give us a play-by-play of this and the effects that it has on the history of Cincinnati sports, and especially the year 2022 in review. On October 8th, Chad Brendel receives a hug from Luke Fickell before Amy Fickell. Go ahead and take it away, Chad.
It just provided funny content, which is what we're here for. And Amy, I watched it again, and Amy wasn't mad. She didn't look angry with me for stealing her spotlight and getting a hug first. I know that's the narrative that some of you want to set. That
if you ask Ed Mayhall, this is why Luke left.
Yeah, the hug heard round Cincinnati. No, that didn't have anything to do with it, Ed. Ed's just jealous he didn't get to hug Luke Fickell before he left.
Also accurate. I think Ed would take a hug from you at this point.
He looks like he needs a hug a lot of the times.
He does, but it was funny. Looking back on it, that should be a video that you have saved in your archives and never release it. But October 16th,
it got put on Twitter.
Well, I meant delete it, not release it. It's already released, yes. October 16th, Aaron, you kind of already touched on this and the rise of the Twitter hashtag you've been using. But on October 16th, that was kind of when all the rookies really were taking off. Alec Pierce had his first career NFL touchdown catch. Sauce wore the cheese head around. Aaron, you kind of already mentioned it, but just how cool it's been to see all of these rookies just having big-time seasons in the NFL. And even Chris Moore, how about that? Out of the blue.
Flash from the past.
He's having a career year.
It's because there's nobody in Houston. There's just nobody left in Houston.
We need to have Chris back on soon. I love Chris Moore.
Yeah,
Chris is one of our better guests.
Absolutely. It really was. October 20th, Luke Fickell becomes the winningest coach in program history with a win at SMU. We said build the statue right away.
Tore it down. We already tore it down.
Construction has
pushed it in the river.
Yeah, that thing is now in the river with the goalpost from Tennessee. That was looking back on it, man. But anyway, he still is the winningest coach in program history. So
like Jeff Howell likes to say, he could have been a king, but he left a prince.
Okay. I can be happy with that. Absolutely happy with that.
It happens.
It does. Up next, we kind of mentioned this name quite a lot over the past couple pods, but this was the first time that through the Twitter sphere that Dante Corleone was being mentioned as the highest rated defensive player in college football. And man, if there is a rise to the top as unexpected as you can possibly think, it would be Dante Corleone.
Now, is it just the offensive line that's graded poorly by these interns, or is it defensive line also?
Here we will accept it, use it, and never look back. But yeah, Dante does seem like he's the epitome of the what's important for this team moving forward. So that first mention is something big.
Yeah, he's a core piece of this team going forward. He's a building block, literally.
Yep. Block, emphasis on block.
Right.
Chad, I want you to dive in on this one a little bit because you have had great connections with this man throughout the years. Josh Wiley on October 29th sets the record for most career touchdown receptions for a tight end. Just your thoughts on Josh and his career, and then kind of maybe a favorite story you could tell on air that won't get Josh in trouble with his future hirers, if you will.
Sorry, we're getting things situated for tomorrow with Kelly, so she's coming in and chatting with me.
Oh, you're good.
Spontaneously.
Nah, you're good.
Sporadically.
Yeah.
Are you still doing a podcast? I'm like, yes.
We're getting close to the end.
We all thought this one would be over 45 minutes ago.
We did. No, I mean Josh was part of the original hometown hero movement. He became one of the faces of everything it meant for these kids to take more serious the opportunity to stay home and play their college football at Cincinnati. He wanted to be a Bearcat from childhood. He was given the opportunity to come in at a low point and take that low point to soaring new heights. And he did just that. And, that's a guy that I love Josh to death. He's somebody that I think will be right up there with Garrett and Royer and, Jacob Evans and some Troy Copain, these guys that as they've moved on from their playing career have become friends. So really excited for Josh to see what's next in his career, and he gets to walk out as the all-time leading tight end in a place that's produced some really good tight ends.
Yep. Yeah, it's the epitome of a stamp on a career that was probably could have been even better, honestly, but was one of the best in history.
Yeah, I mean, if he would have been, more of an upperclassman, like when the talent on the roster was low, like imagine him in Josiah DeGuara's role.
Right.
So targeted
in the end zone this year.
Well, that was all they had was Josiah really, his senior year. So he was in the passing game at least.
Yeah.
Josh was here when you got down to 6 or 7 on the pass catcher chart, and you're still like, that's pretty damn good. Now, none of them are left, but
Josh would have been the focal point of the offense next year.
He'd have had 130 catches.
Josh, we don't know much about the
We're moving you to wide receiver.
Will be the main guy we throw to.
Yeah.
We can call you a tight end for stat purposes, but you'll be our slot guy that we kick to the outside.
And can you also kick? Because we have a punter still, but we may need you to kick. But yeah, Josh Wiley, man, big time. Kind of in the same ilk. A dude that's quickly stealing the fan base's hearts. Victor Locken on November 7th recorded his first career start against Chaminade in the season opener. He hasn't looked back since. We've already talked on Vic quite a lot through the pod, but November 7th, his first start as a Bearcat. Started every game so far this year after that.
When was his first double-double?
That was last year.
Yeah, he had one last year.
Brian.
You're right. He did remind us that in the presser.
Yep.
Vic's brain is like a steel trap. I heard he went into an interview session with the new sideline reporter, Kelsey.
Yep.
And told her the first thing he said to her was, "You spelled my name wrong on Twitter."
Really?
Yeah.
That's hilarious. Another thing that he did was she was like, "Did you know you scored a career high 17 points today?" He said, "Yeah, I do know that." Yeah. It's like, okay.
I love him.
A gold mine of quotes.
I hate you, Stowe. I get yelled at and I can't say anything back.
I hate you, Stowe.
I hate you, Stowe.
He's hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. And I'm just excited to see how much better he can get, because think about it. He's just taking off the training wheels again after he was injured for 2 years. So
scratching the surface, as they would say.
Exactly. November 11th. This is like an awesome day leading into the next one after this. Was one of the worst days in Cincinnati Bearcats sports history. But November 11th, I got my car fixed. Shout out to Danco Joe. Then there was a nip at night against ECU with special guest Isaiah Collier in attendance. Guys, we were all in the field for that. That was an electric night, not only for the football team, but Collier. I don't know. It's kind of crazy. Crazy day.
It was a busy day, that's for sure. It was a very busy day. The last good day of the year, some might say.
Yeah, that's safe to say, because I'm not even going to mention November 12th, because you guys wasted like 3 hours of your life going to that scrimmage. But that was November 12th. Man, and then
it might have been.
Yeah, and then came November 16th.
Hey, if Riley Burgess ends up a Bearcat, then maybe it was worth
all
it.
worth it.
See, there you go.
But
silver lining.
He won't.
Silver lining. November 16th.
Always the optimist, Chad.
Yeah, exactly.
Always the realist, Aaron. Always the realist.
November 16th, guys. One of the worst days in Cincinnati sports history, probably.
We don't talk about that day.
No, we won't.
November 15th, 14th, November 15th, November 17th. It was a leap year.
Okay, yeah, it was a leap year. Forgot about that. How interesting.
They just changed it to the middle of November.
Yeah, there you go. But yeah, Chad and Aaron, just earmuffs real quick. That was the day that Isaiah Collier committed to USC, and then the Bearcats lost to NKU at NKU that night. All right, you guys can take your earmuffs off for now. Okay. Next up,
November 16th is my late dad's birthday. So.
Oh gosh! Wow! Oh my god! All right, sorry, Aaron.
So there's that.
Yeah. Shit. I am sorry.
We still got a mailbag to do. Let's go.
I know. November 21st, Dana Beers commits to the Bearcats. He's been on the pod a couple times.
Great.
Really, really cool guy. November 25th was the Tulane loss. Don't need to really, the breaking of
we've
the.
talked about all this stuff
games.
Recently, so
We have 27th, Fickle gone. 5th, sat back. 10th, the crosstown shootout, and everything that has happened since then. And here we are, still live and well, guys.
Doing great.
Live and well.
Doing great.
That is a year in rewind.
Everything fell apart once Dana Beers visited.
That was almost an hour.
I mean, that was going to be our only talking point all show. I thought that was pretty good.
You certainly talked. Brent, no. In all seriousness, though, you astound me with the amount of research that you do. Well done.
That's a freaking job, man.
Well done. Well done. I'm giving you a compliment. Well done.
All right, let's go ahead and timestamp.
All right. Quick Paper Supply, your local and family-owned restaurant supply company for all of your non-food products. Quick Paper services over 150 restaurants with weekly low minimum next day deliveries, providing a wide range of food service products from to-go containers, cups, custom printed products, eco-friendly, and much more. They also have cleaning and restroom supplies for all your janitorial needs. Call Nick 513-470-2029. Reference Bearcats for 20% off your first month of purchases.
Boom. Quick Paper Supply. Mailbag.
There you go. And also,
it's a light mailbag, Chad.
Super light.
And also, our partnership with Betfred Sports is now live. I don't know if you can copy this or like go to
Yeah,
it
if
when
you
you're in the
highlight
regular
it,
chat.
if you highlight it and you put it into the
Okay.
search bar, then it does come up.
Okay. Betfred. They are the most personalized betting experience on the market, from in-person events with betting competitions, weekly promotional offers that fit your betting size and patterns, and the personal touch you won't get anywhere else. Betfred gives you more. If you sign up now, your pre-registration gets you on a list to be one of the first to bet with Betfred in Ohio. You get a $20 free bet on the Bengals to win the Super Bowl. That's pretty good. I think that's a pretty good free bet. There's another welcome offer on January 1st that's huge, up to $1,111 in bonus bets on that offer that hits on January 1st. You get an invite to the New Year's Day betting party and a chance to win tickets to the Bengals, get some merch, and, of course, free bets. So you will help Bearcat Journal greatly if you are going to gamble in Ohio. Use our good friends at Betfred and register with that link that is in the chat. It's also up on the message board as well. Mailbag, let's go.
Yes. All right. Like we have alluded to, it is a light mailbag this week. So for the football portion of the mailbag, to start it off. What player would be the best Christmas present for the offense, defense, and which coach to fill out the coaching staff?
Joe Burrow, Lawrence Taylor.
Wow.
And Bill Walsh.
We don't need another quarterback in that quarterback room.
I'll take Burrow over anybody that's in there.
We don't have. Who's going to throw it to?
Okay, give me Randy Moss. Randy Moss, Lawrence Taylor, because you need pass rushers. And then it's okay. Everybody did cocaine in the 80s.
It's not the 80s anymore.
Have you even seen the movie Blow? Come on.
Yeah, come on. And then Mike Leach, rest in peace.
Okay. R.I.P.
For me, that would be for me.
Our boy Dana Hogan with the state sweatshirt. That was
nice. That was pretty cool.
Offense, I'm just gonna go like prototype. Playmaking wide receiver, the best you got. Bring him here. Defense, the best pass rushing defensive end you got. Bring him here. Coaching
That's what I just said. Randy Moss and Lawrence Taylor.
Whoa. Just let me say, this is mine. Coaching staff, give me the craziest offensive mind that can listen to Coach Satterfield for a while and then instill his thoughts on things as well, because Coach Satterfield is still calling the plays. How about the best recruiter that money can buy? There you go. And then Aaron, agreed? Thoughts around?
Well, the best recruiter that I've seen is now the head coach at Notre Dame. So I don't know how that really works out for you, but
there's gotta be someone better.
Yeah, Coach Prime.
Maybe someone better. Who knows?
I don't just fill in the holes right now. I don't really care. Honestly, like I'll root for guys regardless. So
right.
Just fill in the holes.
Yeah.
Good answer.
You're welcome. Bryant coming back for a 6th year seems perplexing. Opinions appreciated. Also, moving right from the running back room last year was a big mistake. Looks as if he would have been possibly the second best back, a misjudging of talent. I don't know if that was a question.
Ben coming back, what choice did he really have? He's got a 6-month injury. So try to get back, see if you can get back on the field in the spring, see where things shake out, and then reevaluate your options from there. Like, I think this is by far the smartest move for Ben, and probably another smart move for the program to just let this one play out a little bit further. and kind of reassess once you get through spring ball. That's my take.
And Chad,
Ethan Wright, I've expressed in the past, I thought Luke spent too much time trying to find guys on offense that could move the defense. They tried Alec Pierce. They tried Ethan Wright. They joked about Tyler Scott for a whole year, that they thought he was a better cornerback than a wide receiver. Not everybody plays defense, Luke. Some guys love playing offense.
And they're really good at it.
Yeah, and Ethan wanted to. The thing is, I think Ethan could have been an NFL safety. I truly do believe that. But he wants to play offense, and he's pretty good at offense too. So I know the feeling was they were thin at safety. They thought they had quality depth at running back that could sustain it, but I don't think it was the right move for the kid. So I don't disagree with your statement since you didn't ask a question. You guys thoughts?
Yeah. Ethan Wright, man, he's ready to run through a brick wall. So I'm fine with him at running back. He seems athletic enough, but I agree. At safety, I think I forget which coach it was. He said that he looks like Brian Cook out there. As far as Ben Bryant, the medical staff is still on site, right? So why leave the current situation you're in and rehabbing and whatnot? So
was that an electronic keyboard?
I hit a button on my remote.
Sounded pretty cool.
Yeah, it's like a synthesizer.
Sorry.
I don't know. I'll be shocked if Ben Bryant takes another snap as a Cincinnati Bearcat.
I wouldn't rule that out, though. The kid loves UC.
But yeah, what else was he supposed to do? I understand that sentiment. It was either stop playing football or come back.
You could go into the portal, but
where are you going to end up?
Yeah, like nobody's going to bring you in if you can't participate in spring ball.
If you can't walk.
Right. You're on it. You got your leg in a scooter. Like, yeah.
As for Ethan Wright, I don't know. I mean, the running back room still seems a little loaded right now.
And that you got Bird coming up into his redshirt freshman year. You got Covey coming in. You still got Miles Montgomery, Corey Kiner, Ethan Wright, potentially Ryan Montgomery. We haven't heard from him yet.
Right.
It's a lot of dudes.
Right now, I don't know what we have as far as safety and corner goes going into next year. I mean,
maybe Ethan can play wide receiver.
Maybe. He's tall enough.
Yeah.
That's not out of the realm of possibility, I wouldn't think. So we'll see. And the last one for the football portion of the mailbag. Since most schools are on the semester system and class starts on 1/9, when should we expect action in the portal to pick up this coming week, or more so next week after the coaching staff is fully in place? Is it accurate to assume we're pretty much done with high school recruits for the 2023 class?
As we talked about earlier, the visits for transfer guys start the 4th and run through the 8th. So right around there is going to be the time to look for when that information will start coming in. And I don't assume anything in recruiting. There's a second high school signing window in February. If there are guys that they feel that could help, I could see them adding a guy or two in that window. I don't think it's likely, but I wouldn't rule it out. So don't ever assume anything in recruiting.
All right. Fair enough. Moving on to the basketball portion of the mailbag. Delhi Bearcat started a new thread since it's slow. If you could add one Bearcat from the past to get us to the dance this year, who would you select? Post 1980. I chose Cumberland. I figured we'd outscore every opponent.
Kenyon Martin.
Yeah.
Put Kenyon at the 5s, slide Vic over to the 4.
Yeah.
I mean, That's
JD comes off the bench in that role as a spot shooter.
I mean, that's a top 25 team.
And if you're not allowed to pick Kenyon Martin because his name is in the rafters,
that might be a top 10 team.
If you can't take K Martin, you take Danny Fortson.
I don't know. That might be a top that's a really damn good team right there.
How different would this team look with Nick Van Exel?
It looked great, but then it'd be the same two shorter backcourt guys.
You'd still
Nick Van Exel played 13 years in the NBA.
Oh, I know. Oh, I mean Kenyon Martin did the same thing. I'm
still not sure you could rebound.
You'd score every trip, so you don't need to rebound.
He makes everything. He shoots at 100% clip.
Yeah, he does. He does.
Yeah, so there was
Gary Clark would be interesting, but if you're going to take Gary, you take Kenyon.
Yeah.
Right. If you're going to go big man, you take Kenyon.
Right.
Well, that's what I said. If you weren't allowed to take Kmart because his name is in the rafters, then you take Danny Fortson.
There was a quick on this date in history. The Bearcats beat Temple back in back when Nick Van Exel was playing. Get this real fast. Nick Van Exel was 8 of 14 from 3.
See, he didn't miss.
That was before people were shooting threes at that clip.
Unreal.
Quick.
I'm still taking Kmart. All right.
Yeah,
that's fine.
Take Kmart. Fellas, what's your first real memory of a UC basketball game or team?
Steve Sanders from the corner to open the shoe.
Okay.
I remember being at games with my dad before then, but I don't remember specific moments up to that point because they were largely forgettable up until Hugs got here. So I'll go with that one.
I think my first memory, I don't even know what year it was. It was probably elementary school, but I was in the very top row of the shoe. My friend Paul's dad took me and Paul to the game, and we watched from the very top row as Paul's sister was down in the student section, and he was pointing at how good the seats were if you were a student.
Yeah, mine was. I think
and then you went to Wright State.
And then I went to Wright State. Yeah.
Mine was way back in the day, kind of being too small to really know what's going on, but just looking over and seeing the sound thing going up and down. I think it was for a crosstown shootout.
Oh, yeah.
Seeing the noise, barometer or whatever it's called, just going up and down. I just remember that intently, and it just being so loud. And yeah, that was my first memory. And then, because I used to live in Cincinnati way back in the day, but yeah, so that was my first memory of, I guess, of no memory, if you will. But yeah.
All right. And the last question in the basketball portion of the mailbag. The progression of Vic from last season to this season has been nothing short of phenomenal. Who or what was the biggest factor of this?
The short-lived stint of Sean Dwyer.
Kyle Washington?
No, I think it's just the game. There's especially the guys that are heavily brought up in the European system, and Vic came through the number one club team in Russia. I think it's just a completely different brand of basketball. It's a lot more free flowing. It's a lot more open. It's not nearly as physical. I think once there was a little bit of Vic on tape last year, people figured out you can just kind of bully him. And the other thing, knock on wood, he's healthy. Last year, he barely practiced. It was just a matter of every week getting him ready for a game, 2 games. First healthy offseason. So now that he's had a chance to kind of adjust to the physicality, and he's had a chance to be healthy and actually work on getting consistently better, it has all blossomed like a flower, a Russian flower.
But no doubt, shouts to Sean Dwyer for
landing Vic. Hell yeah.
For landing Vic and locating the man and convincing him to be a Bearcat.
Love me some Sean Dwyer. Good dude.
All right, rounding out the Banks portion of the mailbag. Skins even kept it short. Merry belated Christmas, boys. Only one question. What is the one gift you wanted as a kid and did not get? For me, yesterday was the 36th anniversary of me not getting the G.I. Joe aircraft carrier.
Jordans. That was, well, like you got to remember, that was when they first became popular. Shoes costing $100 was like
crazy talk.
Yeah, like no, I will not pay $100 for you to wear shoes to school. Like
kids were getting Jordans. I was getting Spalding Hakeem the Dreams from Walmart.
Yeah, for $20. Yeah, $19.95. Like. Yeah. So because red and black, like, you know, I wasn't necessarily a Bulls guy, but like just the look was awesome. And I probably asked for Jordans like 3 years in a row. And my dad just was like, you have lost your damn mind. I'm never spending $100 on a pair of shoes. And I'm guessing he has held to that and he has never spent over like $50 on a pair of shoes. Unless they were like work, you know, steel toe work boots for the factory or something.
I can't remember much, but I know I like asked for like a Lil Wayne or like some sort of like an album, like a CD, you know. And instead, Chad, you'll like this. Instead, I didn't get what I asked for, but my parents gave me the speaker box Love Below album.
There you go.
Instead. So I was angry at first, and then I put those two different discs into my CD player, my Walkman, and I was like, okay, it's okay. I like this too. Don't worry.
Speaker box, the Love Below. There's no love below.
Yeah,
we're not.
Exactly.
Yep. I did get something new for Christmas.
Oh, I like that.
Helmet. It's got B. Cook's autograph on it to go with the
I like
B.
it.
Cook up there. So we'll add the little C. Paul mini helmet into the collection. And thanks to Deshaun Martin, said he loved the add-ons to the wall.
There we go.
I'm trying to think what I didn't get that I really wanted. I feel like I had to end up like buying somebody else's Game Boy aftermarket. Like I don't think I got it like a new Game Boy.
Right.
Same thing happened with like a Walkman. Like I had to find a friend who was selling a Walkman before I finally got a Walkman. I feel like those were how I ended up getting things. Like I didn't get a Nintendo. I got a brand new Nintendo, but I think that was like 3 years after they came out.
When the price had dropped because like the 64 was about to come out or whatever.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Thrifty Walrus. Are you actually a walrus? Size 17s? Jeez, man.
That's why he's thrifty. He wears size 17s. Sheesh. And the last question here.
By the way, appreciate you, Deshaun. Hopefully you're sticking around.
The last question here. Since I know Chad loves the movie Major League, which characters do you think all the staff members of BCJ are? My initial impressions are Mo is Harry Doyle, Chad is Lou Brown, Dave is Pedro Serrano, Aaron is Roger Dorn, Brent is Ed Harris, and Royer is Vaughn or Kamikaze Tanaka.
Royer's definitely Ricky Vaughn.
I think that's probably the only thing. Was Vaughn young though?
He was.
He's the youngest one of the bunch.
Young.
Was he?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he was pretty young. Yeah. Where'd you play last year? California Penal League. How'd you get there? Stole a car.
Chad, I haven't really watched these movies much, but I looked up the guy that I was mentioned with, and I disagree.
Roger Dorn was the old veteran third baseman, crafty, a little bit surly. I don't think you are Dorn.
No, that's Aaron's. Aaron's was Dorn.
Aaron's Dorn. Yeah, Aaron's Dorn for sure. Harris was the pitcher, right? Is that who he said you were? Was Harris?
Brent was Ed Harris.
Yeah, Harris.
Eddie Harris.
Harris was the pitcher. He was a generally upbeat guy. He was very much a anything it takes to win guy, Brent.
Okay.
Like Vaseline on the bill of his hat and some pine tar in his pocket, nail file up his sleeve.
Okay.
Like, he's also the guy that
You're talking me into it.
He stole Jobu's rum. And then he got hit with a bat. Somebody swung in the batting cages, and he got hit with a bat. And then Serrano says, "It's very bad. Steal Jobu's rum. Very bad."
Okay. All right. I'm okay with it.
Somebody else in the chat though said that this was Brent, the young catcher from the second movie.
You slap a beard on that guy, there's some Brent vibes there.
Good-looking guy.
Some Brent vibes there.
Roll with it.
Dave, the only thing with Dave is the opposite physically. There's nothing about Dave that looks anything like Pedro Serrano.
Right.
There's nothing about Dave that looks anything remotely athletic.
Right. That was Ed Harris's famous line. Brent, trying to tell me Jesus Christ can't hit a curveball?
Okay. All right. I like him even more. Let's do it.
Yeah. That's the mailbag.
There we go. All right, boys.
Get us out of here, Brent.
It's been a good show.
Guys. It's been a good show. Well, that was a year in review and what to look forward to here in the short future. Speaking of the short future, it is a game on Thursday night against Tulane at home, and then a game at Temple on Sunday. So let's cheer on the basketball team, and of course, a lot of football stuff going on in between. Anything else in closing, guys?
No. Let's go.
You outdid yourself in the research.
Oh, easy.
Always.
But hey, shout out to Danco Transmission. Shout out to Quick Paper Supply. Shout out to Betfred Sports. Let's get to gambling, guys. New year, new us. But for my good pals, partners, guys, Aaron Smith and Chad Brendel and Ryan Royer in Indy, where I'm not at right now, this has been the BBP presented by BearcatJournal.com.
See ya!